There are two things that the Zionist regime they are brutally consistent in doing. Number one is killing, and number two is lying. Let's take a listen to what this liar, his name is Mark Regev, he is the spokesperson of Monster Netanyahu. Let's see how this journalist it is catching him on all the lies he's going to be spitting out in the next few minutes.
Israel has fought at least 5 wars with Hamas over the past 17 years. These wars did not bring peace and security to Israel. What makes you think you will succeed this time around?
So this is different. We've stated a goal that we have never stated in the past, and that is to end Hamas's control over the Gaza Strip. And so the goal of the operation is to create a new reality in Gaza.
According to an investigation by Amnesty International, and I'm quoting, Israeli forces have shown a shocking disregard for civilian lives. They have pulverized street after street of residential buildings, killing civilians on a mass scale.
I reject the accusation. Before starting our military campaign against Hamas, we made a maximum effort, and it's been documented, to encourage civilians to leave the war zone.
Mr. Regev, you talk as if there's places to hide from the bombs in Gaza. You tell people to go to southern parts of Gaza, and then your Air Force bombs areas in the south, killing people there. Where should people go?
So that we have designated, there's an answer to that question. We have shared with the Americans and the United Nations specific zones, which are safe zones. They're in the south.
This is totally new to me. When did you share these zones?
A week ago, when we started talking about moving to the south. Because up
a
until
week
now,
ago. So you've been bombing for 6 weeks.
Mainly the north.
Then you provide safe zones?
When you're in a difficult war situation, it's all about managing risk. And so by telling people leave the north and move south, we're actually managing risk. They are much safer in the south than in the north.
90% of the bombs you've dropped on Gaza have been 500 to 1,000 kilograms each, according to military experts quoted by the Times. These bombs have caused extreme death and destruction. How can Israel claim that its forces are avoiding civilian casualties, as you say, while dropping tens of thousands of these massive bombs?
So we are bombing Hamas infrastructure. We're bombing Hamas's military machine. We're trying to be as surgical as humanly possible.
Mr. Regev, have you seen the pictures from
Gaza? Of
course.
But I would tell you,
I have to say something, surgical attacks?
I have seen.
Have you seen the drone pictures of the massive destruction?
But once again, these are targets that Hamas has turned into a war zone.
International rights groups say Hamas and Israel should be investigated for war crimes. Will Israel allow investigators from the International Criminal Court to enter Gaza?
So we are not committing war crimes. We believe our behavior, we know our behavior conforms with international standards of warfare.
For 2 months, you and the Egyptians have denied international press access to the Gaza Strip. In Egypt's case, it figures. It's a dictatorship. There is no freedom of press there. Israel, on the other hand, prides itself as the only democracy in the Middle East. Why won't you allow journalists to enter Gaza?
It's a war zone. It's very dangerous. We do a press enter when it's feasible for us.
But it's on your terms. It's an embed with IDF.
Because it's a combat zone.
How can we know that what you are saying is true when you don't allow international observers, where you don't allow international press?
Check me.
How can you check? We're not on the ground. We're not on the ground with you.
You are invited to join one of our press.
Where you decide where we go, who we talk to, what we film, and you control our footage.
On the contrary, if the BBC did it, if CNN did it, yes? It's not professional, of course it's professional.
But is that your definition of how free press should operate?
I would say to you,
with all those constraints,
I would say to you that Israel is known for having a free press.
The democratic state of Israel is controlling half of Gaza. Why don't you allow us to go
in there? It's still a war zone.
We can take care of our security.
Sorry, we have a responsibility. We don't allow civilians into a war zone. That would be irresponsible.
Let's move on. You talked about
what about killing Abu Akleh, the Al Jazeera journalist? What about banning Al Jazeera from the country? What about all of these atrocities you're committing against the journalist? What about all of these people? This guy is a serial liar. This guy, Mark Regev, he's lying one after another. He doesn't want to allow anyone from the Middle East, any journalist, even from Western media, to go inside Gaza and see what is happening for themselves. This guy is pathetic.
Displaced people. The war has forced 1.7 million Gazans from their homes. Why won't you allow them back to their homes in northern Gaza?
Because it's still a war zone. And we say when the fighting is over, people can return. Of course they can.
Palestinians in Gaza claim Israel has a more sinister plan of displacing them. Is this true?
Hamas propaganda.
Why then did your intelligence ministry draft a wartime proposal right after you invaded Gaza to transfer Gaza's 2.2 million people to Egypt's Sinai Peninsula?
So we have a large bureaucracy. And the job of the bureaucracy is to produce papers and to think ideas, to come up with ideas. And
why come up with such an idea?
So it's not government policy, but it's the job of people.
Anyway, if you say it's not part of your plan, why?
It's not policy.
But why, if it's not your plan to displace people from Gaza to Egypt, why has your boss, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, been lobbying the EU to pressure Egypt into accepting refugees from Gaza, according to the Financial Times?
So we would urge all countries to accept refugees from Gaza. We think that's the humane thing to do.
So you have been lobbying the EU to accept.
We've been urging all countries to accept Palestinian refugees, and even if it's just to accept people to go to hospitals and things, we think that's part of our goal, which is not to see innocent civilians caught up in the crossfire. This is humanitarian. Why are you making it sinister?
Because they fear they will never be able to come back.
We will give guarantees that people can come back.
So you guarantee that?
Yes.
The Israeli website Ynet has reported that your government has offered to pay off a chunk of Egypt's foreign debt in exchange for accepting Gazan refugees. Is this true?
All I can say is we've been urging all countries to accept refugees from the conflict precisely because we don't want to see innocent civilians caught up in the crossfire.
Have you offered this to Israel?
We've talked to many countries about different things.
Tamir Pardo, a former Mossad chief, recently said Israel is enforcing an apartheid system in the West Bank. He said, and I quote, "In a territory where two people are judged under two legal systems, that is an apartheid state." How would you respond to that?
So the factual part is correct. In other words, there is Israeli law for Israeli citizens. And
settlers who are living there illegally according to international law.
We don't obviously accept that, but there's Israeli law for Israeli citizens and Palestinians living there under military law. But if you make one legal system, there's a word for that. That's called annexation, which the international community opposes and most Israelis don't want to do.
So you prefer military rule over the Palestinians?
As a temporary solution until we can find permanent agreements, I can't see an alternative. It is illogical.
No, these are all BS, all bullocks coming from this liar. There is no law for Palestinian. There is absolutely no law. He's talking about one law, one system, and that's called annexation. All of these are bullocks because these people, the Zionist regime, they don't believe in laws for the Palestinian because this is something that will stop them from keep occupying the land of Gaza, and this is not what they intend to do so. So right now, yeah, of course, it's a disaster. Iran is gearing up to attack you. You should better be prepared for this, you Zionists. And we have also seen how the rhetoric is coming from Iran, from Khamenei. He made it absolutely clear that this is going to be a war of attrition. This is what Iran is preparing for. We know that Russia is also involved in this, and so Russia might actually help Iran to conduct this kind of war, just like what Russia is doing itself with Ukraine, a war of attrition. So they want to drag this war on for as long as they can, and in the process bleed Israeli economy out of its money and everything, and then completely annihilating, destroying the state of Israel, and test US's friendship. They're loyal to Israel for a very long time, and this is why I think, and I personally believe, and I'm in the opinion that Iran should not do anything as a one-off. They should drag this war on and on and on until US will say our economy is destroyed, Israel's economy is destroyed, we cannot fight anymore, and we want to surrender. I want to see that. I don't want Iran to go on a one-off attack, and this is exactly what looks like to me Iran is preparing, and Putin, I think, is behind all of this. He's a very, very smart guy from his country. He was a KGB agent. He knows this warfare very well, a lot better than Joe Biden, Genocide Joe, or Don the Con, or Kamala. And so I think that in this case, Israel is going to be set up for a complete humiliation and destruction. And the way Putin is setting them up is something that we will just watch and see, and find out how this all will unfold in the coming days. Guys, these guys, I mean, they will never stop lying. As I said, they lied in the UN. Wherever they go, they lie about the situation in Gaza. The only reason why we are finding out all of this atrocities, the killing of the Palestinian people, is because of social media. So yeah, you can lie as many as you want, but truth will prevail. Thank you so much for watching.